know why you're here?
So I make this series to show you the story of Adam and his descendants. And I showed you how the sons of Noah went different ways and created civilizations, philosophies and architecture all over the world. Here you see a map where the son of Noah, Japhet, went. He went all the way to China, India, and he was the progenitor of their civilizations and philosophies. These sons of Japhet were named Indo-Europeans and Scythians. And the other son of Noah, Shem, basically built the civilizations in the Middle East. And Ham, the third son, went south into a place which the Greeks called Ethiopia, Egypt, and all over the North African coast. And from these came the table of nations described in Genesis. These nations are the biblical nations. But today they have this new teaching that Noah had 3 sons of 3 races. And I'm going to explain how this is so dangerous and brought us to a place in history where we are now. Also they teach us that the flood of Noah was worldwide. Koala bears and kangaroos from Australia went all the way to Noah to get in that ship. Also all the animals from the Amazon rainforest in South America and all the animals out of Africa went to that little ship of Noah. And there were millions upon millions of animals. Of course, that flood was not worldwide. And when the sons of Japhet went all the way east, they encountered the dark races. They encountered the Mongolia race. Also Ham. When Ham went south into Africa, North Africa, there were already black people there. But today I want to focus on North Africa and what actually happened there. There is a big agenda going on telling us that the North Africans and the Egyptians and the ancient Ethiopians originally all were sub-Saharan Africans. But have you ever noticed that King Alexander, the Macedonian king, was only interested in North Africa? And the Romans were only interested in North Africa and never went below that point. Not many people have learned in history that there was also an empire of Carthage in North Africa. Who were these people of Carthage? The capital of this empire was the city of Carthage in modern-day Tunisia. But back then, Carthage was founded by Phoenicians. Now it's going to take a whole video to explain the Phoenicians with the Canaanite background and the Hebrew Israelite background. But they had settlements all around the Mediterranean Sea. So Carthage was not an Arab or sub-Saharan dynasty at all back then. And one of the most famous generals of Carthage was General Hannibal. And we know how Hannibal went through Spain all the way over the mountains on elephants to fight the Romans. So Carthage ruled over North Africa. And these people also living there were called Berbers. And who were Berbers? Berbers were also descendants of Ham. And we can even see nowadays that there are still people of that lineage and still, after all this time, have blue eyes and blonde hair. So even the Carthage Empire fell, these Berbers have been living there for many centuries until the Islamic Arab invasions that started in the 7th century after Christ. But the original Arabs were still Caucasian looking. Even the Prophet Muhammad is described as a pale white man, whiter than milk and with red hair. But we see that these Arabs went into North Africa, but also into the sub-Saharan regions. They converted everyone living in these regions to Islam. Hence that the Moorish invasion were Caucasian looking people, and through mixing became darker Arab looking, and they had even sub-Saharan Africans in their legions. But even though the Muslims converted also these sub-Saharan Africans into Islam and used them as soldiers, that does not mean that the sub-Saharan people ruled these nations. But nowadays when you go on YouTube, you see videos like this pop up all the time. And it is just a subversion of our Caucasian history. So we cannot look at the Middle East or North Africa and assume that these people have always looked like that. This happened in the 7th century after the Arab conquests of the Middle East and North Africa. There was also a famous Arab Muslim called Mansa Musa. He was of the Arab aristocracy and he was part of the upper class. Because even back then, races had classes. Some were considered the upper class, and gradually downwards, people became more and more the underclass. But North Africa was in that time ruled by the Arabs and not sub-Saharan Africans like we see, for example, here when I speak about Mansa Musa. So let me share a little clip of Robert Zeffer. All credit goes to him, of course, in this clip. And I will share the link in the description box. But he speaks about this too. He explains it very well.
Located on the southern tip of the Sahara Desert, the Empire of Mali was one of the largest empires in West African history. And at its height, it spanned from the Atlantic coast to central parts of the Sahara Desert. The empire was founded in 1235 and lasted until the early 1600s. All goods brought in and out of the empire were heavily taxed, while all gold nuggets belonged to the king. Mali's ruler adopted the title of Mansa, and the empire's most famous ruler was named Mansa Musa, who underwent a pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324, accompanied by 60,000 individuals and large quantities of gold. Chroniclers of the times wrote that he distributed so much gold on his trip that he caused great inflation lasting a decade. He was credited with building the Great Mosque of Timbuktu in 1327, as well as the greatest library in Africa at the time, estimated to have housed between 250,000 and 700,000 manuscripts, making it the largest library in Africa since the Great Library of Alexandria.
Located in the heart of the city, the Timbuktu Mosque was built in the 14th century under the reign of Emperor Kankan Musa. Rebuilt and enlarged from 1570 to 1583 by Imam Al-Kib, the mosque can accommodate 12,000 worshippers. It is highly regarded as a religious and a socio-cultural symbol. In 2012, the mosque was partially destroyed by the jihadist groups before being rehabilitated by UNESCO between the years of 2013 to 2017. The building, which is maintained every year to tame wear and tear, has been built with biodegradable materials. The mosque benefits from a UNESCO project entitled Safeguarding the Mosques of Timbuktu. Since its rehabilitation, the monument has regained its place in the social cohesion of the historic city. Wangui Kirubi, CGTN.
There's been some controversy over the ethnicity and racial appearance of Mansa Musa, with the most common version coming from a 1375 Catalan atlas on the right. On the left is a 1339 depiction from the map of Angelino Dulcart. It's clear that one of these depictions has been altered, which seems to be the case with many early Arab and Islamic images of Moors, who are white Berbers but have been blackwashed in an effort to appropriate history for seemingly political purposes. For example, This image from 1285 shows a Christian and a Moor playing chess. This is a mural located on the ceiling of the Hall of Kings in Alhambra in Spain from the late 14th century. So, the same way that the history of the Berber Moors has been appropriated, so is the case with ancient Mali, as this is how Mansa Musa is depicted in textbooks. To drive the point home, these Nubian wall murals from the 1500s are from Dongola, Sudan, located on the banks of the Nile. Old Dongola flourished for centuries as the capital of Makuria, one of the most important medieval African states, filled with ancient Christian iconography. During excavations, archaeologists have recently found a series of hidden rooms covered with spectacular and colorful depictions of the Virgin Mary, Jesus Christ, Archangel Michael, and a Nubian king. Ancient Nubia, known for rich deposits of gold, hosted some of Africa's earliest kingdoms. With massive amounts of slave labor, became quite wealthy, even ruling parts of Egypt for a brief time. But their pharaohs were never of sub-Saharan African descent, despite what is taught by politically motivated universities, which no longer try to educate people, but to indoctrinate them into a false, politically motivated view of history.
So why is this Afrocentrism, this globalism, this one world order, this one world religion so dangerous? Well, we have forgotten who we were. We have lost our ways, and we are bowing now down to satisfy the lusts of others. We even feel so sorry sometimes for people that we freely given away everything that was meant for us to guide. It's not about oppressing. The Dominion Mandate was not about going against other people. It was about leading in righteousness through God's Spirit. But the fall of our European civilization is not because our ancestors were evil. It's because we put down our mandate God gave to us to satisfy other people.
Right here in the ISUPK on the Commandant General Yohana, man. This is the Lord's work right here, man. This is the Lord's work right here. And this is a good white woman, man. She's showing her deeds, man, to the Lord, man. And the Most High may show favor.
Here it is, right here. There you go. Mr. White Man, get these white women and get these white people a hand, man. Keep on coming. Keep on coming. Keep on coming, Mr. White Man. Keep on going. Keep on going, man. Most High ain't Christ, man. You understand? Now, they showing what it means to really salute a prophet and a priest of the Lord. Right. Keep going.
No, he's being God and he's no longer just being here. In honor of his legacy. We're not rioting, God. We're not shaming anybody, God. We're just humbling ourselves before you. Yes. Father, we ask for forgiveness from our black brothers and sisters for years and years of racism.
Y'all stand together with the community, with society, to stop the governmental oppression, period. We need you. So then march with us, march beside us. You get your people. Y'all march beside us, march beside us.
Can you do me a favor? Can you take a kneel? Can you take a kneel?
I don't know, they ain't enough for me.
Let me see.
They ain't enough for me.
Thank you. Let me see you take a kneel.
They ain't enough for me.
Let me see you take a kneel. Let me see you take a kneel. Thank you. Thank you.
So for those of you who would like to participate in this, I'm going to now lead us in an apology from white Americans to African Americans on behalf of our country, to you and to your ancestors and to all of your people. And now as I speak, I'm going to ask the white Americans in the room to please repeat after me. On behalf of myself and on behalf of my country, to you and all African Americans, from the beginning of our nation's history, in honor of your ancestors and on behalf of your children. Please hear this from my heart. I apologize. Please forgive us.
So more and more white Christians pray for this Marxism to prevail. We also see that more and more rich people feel the need to put themselves away within gated communities, while the white people more and more are removed from God, lost their way, and just aimlessly try to survive in this world. We need prayer, brothers and sisters. We need a revival. We need God's Spirit to be poured upon His people again. God bless.